Matt Lenihan Boxing Social in association with Empire.
I'm just glad that we've brought a bit of credibility into the world with Matt Lenihan from Boxing Social. We've had Parsons and Colm asking me what my opinion was of the judge on Saturday night. And now we've got some credibility in the house. So, good to see you.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. In association with our Kings as well. Just get that in. Eddie, Tyson Fury, the open workout. Sort of a bit of a chilling night, but a chilling message. Yeah, he's just responded, one word answers everything, saying destruction, pain. What do you make of his sort of demeanour coming into this fight week?
I don't think there's any plan. I don't think... I say he knows what he's going to do. I think he just does what he's feeling. I mean, it was quite a bizarre open workout, wasn't it? I mean, you know, he came in laced up, looked like he was going to hit pads. Sugar put his gloves on. Then they came out for the round, and then that was it. Took his gloves off. So... the problem is what you're up against. I think normally Tyson Fury's kind of been the king of mind games, but there's nothing that Fury's going to do that's going to affect the mindset of Alexander Usyk. And I thought Usyk looked great, to be honest with you. Like, this is going to be a very, very tough fight.
I spoke to Johnny Nelson yesterday, and he said he didn't even think this fight would happen again. He was doubtful it would happen the first time, but he
thinks AJ should retire. He didn't think the fight would happen. He didn't think this. He didn't think that. I mean, why not? Like when there's this kind of money and this kind of stage involved, they're always going to fight. You know, Johnny knows that. Johnny knows that it's prize fighting, and they're all making a lot of money to be in the biggest fights. And money is the dictator at the end of the day.
He's completely flipped his opinion round from the first fight, saying Usyk will knock him out, and the second fight I think he said the same, and now he's seen Tyson for one day and said, I feel completely different now. Do you get that?
What, he thinks Fury's going to win?
Yeah, he thinks Fury's going to win now.
I hope he does. I mean, can he win? Absolutely. Like, the reality is, he may be one of the very few people that I've heard say, gun to head, who wins this fight? Right? Everybody thinks Fury's got a chance. Everybody thinks this is going to be a close fight. But how many gun to head are picking him to win this fight?
Are you?
Only because I'm talking myself into it. Only because I want the Brit to win. Only because I quite like Tyson Fury deep down. Only because I think it would be incredible. Only because I'd love him to fight AJ for the World Heavyweight title. But factually, on everything that I've seen...
Is that mad? You have to talk yourself into picking Tyson Fury. The first fight, although he had the moment in the round...
I thought he'd win the first fight. I did. And I couldn't believe what Usyk did by walking him down, by beating him up at times. And I just start to think, like, this guy might be unbeatable. Don't forget as well, that fight took a lot out of both men. But who did it take more out of? Just because Fury was hurt bad in the fight, Usyk... You know, when he left the ring, he was exhausted. And they're both getting older now. Do you know what I mean? But I just feel like this fight is going to be about the second half of the fight, because every time it seems like Usyk just goes into overdrive. Do you know what I mean? Like, for 6 rounds. I mean, look, in the second fight against AJ, we complete the 9th round. He gave him a shellacking in the 9th round. And I'm thinking, we've got this. We're going to win it. And he come out in 10, 11, 12. I've never seen anything like it. He stuck it on AJ. He threw about 150 punches a round. He was unbelievable. Against Bellew, after 7 rounds, Bellew was winning the fight. And he drains you with his feet. He drains you with his movement. That back sit, and then the first fight, I thought Fury won the first half of the fight. But he's got to be able to fight at that pace for 12 rounds. Fury likes to dictate his own pace. And by Usyk sticking it on him last time, he made him fight at Usyk's pace. And it was too much.
I keep seeing this. He needs to use his big man strength. We've had Anthony Joshua twice, Daniel Dubois, Fury sort of, I feel like he wanted to commit but then was quite hesitant. He's coming into this now talking like he did before Wilder 2. Right. Do you expect him to do that, or do you think more of the same?
I thought he would do that in the first fight, and he did exactly the opposite. If you think you can just walk down Alexander Usyk and use your size to beat him up, No, mate. Because we tried to do that in the second fight. We had some success. But you get pinged and countered everywhere. And it's not that easy as well, by the way. It's all very well saying, just walk him down and beat him up. And every time you move, ping, ping, and he's over there. And then he's spun out over there. And then he's inside, beating you up on the inside. Then he's reverse spinning. It's like, look at the first fight with AJ. It's like, he was just getting pinged all the time because he was really stuck in between styles. In the second fight, he was much more aggressive and he had some success. But, I don't know. I mean, like, if you're reckless, you're going to get pinged everywhere. You got to be smart. You got to be a little bit aggressive. You got to try and hurt him. And that's not as easier said than done.
You spoke about this fight, or if Tyson Fury wins, then imagine the Anthony Joshua fight. But surely at 1-1, everyone's talking about a rubber match. And if the second fight's as good as the first, surely we see the third. Surely,
I think pending what the fight's like. Obviously, for me, if Fury wins, I want him to fight AJ for the world heavyweight title, and I think there'll be a lot of demand for that. But if it's a classic and Fury wins, there is, of course, the chance of a rubber match.
This AI robot carry on. Now, there's been controversy over judges for, since time began. Are you for it or against it?
For it, for sure. I mean, I'm for it because it doesn't count and it doesn't mean anything. But let's see what it spits out. Maybe it gives you the perfect scorecard. I mean, is there a perfect scorecard? Because it's opinion, isn't it? So I don't know how that's going to work. But I'd like to know a bit more about it. I might speak to Turkey about it and say, what is it? Is it sensory? Is it CompuBox? Is it someone inputting? I mean, AI should really be no one inputting data. It decides it itself. But the reality is, subconsciously, judges will always have an opinion before the fight. You can't not, can you? Like, you can't say to someone, I don't know who Tyson Fury is. I don't know who Alexander Usyk is. Of course you do. You might like him. You might not like him. You might like his style. You might not like his style. You might like an aggressive fighter. You might like a counter-puncher. So it's very difficult to get a balanced opinion pre-fight. But with an AI judge, you do. They don't know who they are. But I want to know how the data is inputted to a robot or whatever they are to tell you what the score is.
Moving on, Carl Froch. He said a lot about Riyadh season over the past year. He's questioned the atmosphere, amongst other things. I believe he's coming out this week. I know you've been asked, but I think Frank Warren in an interview earlier today has labelled him a hypocrite, and that doesn't look like repairing itself anytime soon. What's your thoughts on Carl coming out here now? Is it good for him to experience it? What's your thoughts?
I think Carl will change his opinion very quickly. Because have you ever met anyone who's come out here and hasn't enjoyed it? I mean, who hasn't liked it, who hasn't been completely blown away by what they've seen? Let's just make one thing clear. This ain't London, right? You're not going to get 20,000 people in the O2 drinking 10 pints and screaming and shouting, Sweet Caroline. We love them. We love our country. But every country's different. There's no just because that's what we do, you do know that hasn't got to be the norm. So some people might say, well, I prefer the environment in Riyadh because it's not full of 20,000 people having beers, throwing it out. Yeah. But I get that the atmosphere is different. By the way, the atmosphere will be great on Saturday. You were at the first fight, right? I thought the atmosphere was brilliant. Now listen, some of the fights, it's not quite as loud as, but you're bringing, sometimes you might bring Beterbiev and Bivol, two Russians, to Saudi Arabia. When we do a big show at the O2, you've got a Brit. You might have 5,000 travelling from Leeds, 5,000 travelling from Manchester. Of course, the atmosphere is going to be better. You're educating a new audience here, and Carl's obviously accepted an invite to come out. And I think His Excellency's pretty good like that. I think he'll be pissed off at the start, and I don't think he would have appreciated Carl Froch's comments. But rather than going, right, we will never talk to him again, we will ban him, he's probably gone, invite him out, and he can experience it. And I bet when Carl Froch goes home on Sunday, he goes, bloody great out there, because that's what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah. Frank Warren in an interview earlier on today confirmed Dennis McCann, it was multiple substances with these failed tests. Have you heard anything more about it, or is this just a case of due process, but with everything that's surrounding it, it doesn't look good from the outside looking in?
Obviously, I know that because I was on the reports from VADA, because all promoters are who are involved with the fight. It's not my fighter, obviously, even though I still get asked questions about my opinion on it. Not from you, but just in general. And I think that whenever this happens, the immediate reaction is guilty, right? And 9 times out of 10, I think people who fail drugs tests probably are guilty. But some people are unlucky. Now, some substances can be via contamination, and some can't be. So I'm not going to go into that. It's Dennis's fight. It's Frank's fight. I will say everybody deserves an opportunity to state their case. But every substance is different. Some are multiple. Some can only be ingested certain ways. But, you know, been here before, the B sample, you know, all these kind of things. So it doesn't look good at all. But he's going to have to really go through the mill here. And I've seen it. Obviously, we've seen it recently with Conor. Like, this don't go away. So you've got to somehow go through the hearings, state your case, and see if you can make your case. And if you're innocent, hopefully it prevails. And if you're guilty, you should really never fight again.
I saw you speak on TalkSport with Simon Jordan about this and the whole sort of confidentiality surrounding it. He's highlighted some on Twitter, I don't know if it's today or yesterday, saying basically it's that they can't give out the results and reasonings without Mr. Benn's consent. Is that fact, and could Conor reveal it?
The information and the advice Conor Benn gets from his lawyer, which is fact, is that the hearing is confidential. The last thing Conor Benn wants to do is put himself in a position after winning the 3rd hearing regarding his situation to break a confidential. And Simon says, well, so what if he breaks the confidentiality? What are they going to do about it? Do you really think we want to be in that position where we do that? Now, in time, I think that Conor Benn will want to, hopefully, be in a position to say. But what I want to make clear is, these same people, like Simon Jordan, have said it was based on jurisdiction. It's a complete lie. And now he's had to acknowledge that, and he's had to hold his hands up and say, this was a case in a hearing that looked at all the facts, okay, and determined that Conor Benn was clear, right? So the reality is if Conor Benn wants to go and talk to UCAD and decide together if they want to release a statement, I'm sure they'll do that in time. Right now, his focus is on returning to the ring because he's been cleared to do so. Would
it make sense for him to do that, though, so that the public can go, you know what, he's been done by there, because everyone's got that opinion?
No one is. You can't keep everyone happy. The reality has been he's won 3 hearings with 3 different bodies: UCAD, WBC, and NAPD. If you aren't willing to say fair enough at that point, even when he releases the information, you're going to look at, right, this is what just people do. It's like a complete waste of time. There is 0 point in arguing with idiots. Get on with it. You've gone through the process that everybody asked you to go through. You won. Focus on the next fight, and that's the plan.
Well, the next fight, you said you met with Ben Shalom. You two had it back and forth. I mean, you think you threatened to knock him out on stage at one point. I know you just a minor. Look, have you had further discussions, and has there been wiggle room on the percentages? And, you know, if it's such a small percentage, would you not be willing to give Chris that extra percentage in these negotiations? Well, you?
No. Oh, fuck that. I want to make some money. You know, you think we've been through 2 years with Conor Benn. You know, we've lost a huge amount of money on that first fight that never took place. 7 figures. Yeah? What's this, a Chris Eubank charity show? I mean, you know, it's not down to me to give him money myself so that we lose money again on a show. The reality is this. At 50-50, the fight happens now. Yeah? At 55-45, it probably don't happen. But, who knows? And sooner or later, we're going to miss the boat. So, at the end of this week, if we don't have the fight made,
Barrios,
we move on. Oh, listen, Conor wants to fight Barrios. I like the fight, you know. But we know the Eubank fight is one of serious magnitude, so watch this space.
Eddie, appreciate your time.
Cheers, mate.